we've got our guest on from up in the Marshall. It's the Marshall area, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I got interested in you when I heard you were running after I had read a couple of articles you wrote for Conduit dealing with the convention. I thought you reported on the convention very, very well and gave people an honest reporting of what went down. I want everybody to know that when the convention happened earlier this year, nothing spurious or illegal happened. Everything that was done by the book, and the people spoke. And you know, what does that do for you as far as the chairmanship of the Republican Party of Arkansas? Where does that place you at?
Well, so you know how people say that our national constitution is just a piece of paper if nobody is willing to enforce it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have kind of the same situation happening with our party's rules right now. It is supposed to be the chairman's job to safeguard the rules. And I believe he was even sworn in with an oath to that effect. So it's challenging to really contextualize what has happened since the convention. I never expected to see the executive committee throw out our party's rules, especially because they get their authority from those rules, number one. And number two, you cannot violate them without bearing false witness, since it's a contract that we all sign on to when we accept a role within the party. And I know that at least everyone I have spoken to on that executive committee truly does want to follow God. So it has baffled me a lot what they've done. I will say that the rules take a lot of effort to incorporate fully and understand the ways that all of the different parts of the rules play together. But I don't think that ignorance is the explanation in this case. Okay,
so what would be the first thing that you would want to do if you were chosen chair of the RPA?
The first thing that I would want to do is, it's the most important thing for whoever is elected chair, and that's to heal the schism in the party, because we need to go forward as a team. And the reason that I'm running is because it was time for the unity message, but not in the way that we've heard it in the past. Because in the past, the way that the unity message has been meant is we, the rulers, have chosen the goal, and it's now everybody else's job to get in line behind that goal and put their efforts there. But you can't have true unity without including all voices in defining the goal. So that's step one. Step one is to get people from both sides to sit down and hash out their differences and then communicate the concerns that they have so we can all work together to define the goal of the party, such that everybody can voluntarily get behind it and put their heart into it.
Okay, Margot, what would you do to make that happen? Because that's a big order that you're talking about right there.
Yes.
I mean, the current chair and the executive committee has been asked to join and sit down and talk about this, but they refuse to do so. It's like it's our way or the highway. How do you deal with that type of a logic?
Well, so I will say, number one, that ever since I announced my run, the unity message is so self-evidently the right one that every candidate who has announced since then has taken on that message. And so in one sense, that's a win already. However, it is absolutely critical to have that chairman's position. And the thing is, the current executive committee does not constitute the entire, what you might call, establishment wing of the party. And there are many legislators who are interested in the long-term health and stability of our party. And I believe that many of them would come to the table to discuss with the grassroots who really represent the constituents how the goals of the party need to be defined. So the thing is that the chair can appoint committees, and so the chair can appoint, for example, a special committee to study how each side feels about the rules as they're currently written and whether they feel they can play by those rules with integrity, and if not, make some suggestions about how we can change the rules going forward so that everyone feels like their voice is important.
All right, so what do we do with the establishment? I mean, they're pretty doggone sold and wedded to the idea of open primaries for the Republican Party of Arkansas, where it seems to me the people who were at the convention are not wed to that. In fact, they're wed to closed primaries so that Democrats can't water down our candidacy during primary season. How do we get around that one? That seems to be the 800-pound gorilla in the room right now.
I will tell you honestly that at least half of the what you might call establishment people that I have spoken to do actually support the closed primary, and their main objection to the convention is that they feel like their representation was stolen because of the change in status of ex officio members of that state board from voting members to non-voting members. And so I think that is a bigger elephant in the room than the closed primary issue.
Okay, so you're talking about the elected officials having their voting rights suspended. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so they don't want to give up any power either, is what you're saying. So this sounds like it's now become a power struggle. I guess it has been from the very go, right?
Yes, it has been a power struggle, and that's the thing, is that we have to get out of the power struggle paradigm, if at all possible, because we're going to destroy our party. We're going to destroy our party by doing that. And the Democrats had control of this state for a long time, but they started to have the same kinds of internal divisions that we're having now back in 2004. And we won the state legislature just a few years later.
Yeah,
and it's
2010.
been right, and it's been a more and more red state ever since then. However, the Democrats did flip a seat in this last election, which of course was the biggest red wave election of my lifetime. And across the country, Republicans primarily flipped seats and not Democrats. So the thing is that our party is starting to get out of touch with the voters, and we are not entitled to rule. We're not rulers. We've been given trust and an opportunity to lead by the people. We have to be grateful for that opportunity and treat it with respect. And if our focus is all on grabbing power from each other within the party, then in the end we all lose, and so does Arkansas.
All right, we need to get a break in, Margot, and then we'll come back and finish up our conversation. This is a person who's running for chairman of the Republican Party of Arkansas, Margot Herzl, and we're glad to have her on with us today. Like I said, you want to read some good articles, go to conduit.com and read her articles about the convention that happened earlier this year, and you'll read a couple of really concise articles that that cover a lot of the issues that have caused the warring between factions in the RPA. But we're going to come back and talk to her in just a moment. Right now, I'm going to tell you about PI Roofing. PI Roofing is a roofing company that I've been talking about for 23, 24 years. They are also now, and they want you to know this, a general contractor. They've got the people that can, put up walls, do drywall, do all that stuff. You got to do a lot of construction when you do roofs anymore. They can do the construction you need around your house. You got a job that's kind of small, and then when I talk small, I'm talking $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 worth of work. The big construction companies, they don't want to get involved with that stuff. That's small potatoes to them. PI Roofing, though, they do want to get involved with that and give you the quality work you should demand and you deserve. Give them a call at 501-707-3548. I don't know if you're like me. I've got a black thumb when it comes to gardening, and I've got a black thumb when it comes to building things. So I'm glad that there's people like PI Roofing. Again, 501-707-3548, or visit them online. Please tell them I sent you, PI Roofing.
Tammy Chase Insurance offers health insurance for people under 65 or over 65. Options for everyone. If you need help signing up for Medicare, we can help. Wondering if your current coverage is the best fit? Tammy Chase Insurance can review and recommend the best option. Call today, 501-658-5127. Visit us at our new office on Counts Massey Drive off Maumelle Boulevard, or visit TammyChaseInsurance.com.
If you've ever wanted to send your child to a private Christian school, but always assumed it was just too expensive, we've got some great news. We have teamed up with schools around Central Arkansas to provide you a half-price deal on their tuition. That's right, full 50% off. But here's the catch. There's only a few of these vouchers available. So call right now to take advantage of this half-price deal on private Christian school tuition. Call 501-404-6560. That's 501-404-6560.
If you're a business owner and a listener to this station, you might not realize that the conservative news and talk content that you enjoy is advertiser supported. Our loyal audience loves to do business with the advertisers who make our programming possible. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some advertisers who avoid us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our listeners are eager to support advertisers who support our conservative programming. Join the successful companies who reach customers who care about this programming. Become a part of making a difference in the lives of people who listen and who are passionate about supporting the great family of advertisers who are part of this station. It's truly a perfect match for you and for them.
Go to 1011fmtheanswer.com and click on the online agent button in the lower right corner to advertise. Again, that's 1011fmtheanswer.com to advertise.
Dave Elswick is the conservative voice of Arkansas, and he's back. 101.1, The Answer.
All right, let's continue our conversation with Margot Herzl. She's up in Searcy County. She lives up in the Marshall area. Anytime that you go through, you got to go through her town to get up to Branson. Basically, you're right up the highway. I always look forward to going through that area. The other thing I like is there in the community just before Marshall, when you're going to the north, stopping there and picking up some bread and stuff at the bakery that's right there on 64. I love that place.
Serenity.
Yeah.
Serenity Farms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want black apples, black Arkansas apples, you got to go up 64. I'm just telling you, it's what you got to do. Anyway, enough on all of that. Let's get back to talking about what we're talking about, and that's her wanting to be the chair of the Republican Party of Arkansas. Explain to us, if you would, how does the executive committee get on the executive committee, so to speak, and how much power do they wield over the chair?
So Some members of the executive committee are elected, and some are ex officio members, such as the constitutional officers, I believe, and the U.S. senators and congressmen, and then there are several others as well having to do with clubs. And I can't remember exactly the number, but it's around 40 people altogether who make up that committee. And the chair is just one vote on that committee.
Right.
So the chair cannot control the actions of the committee. The chair can make sure that the rules are followed when that committee meets, and during meetings of the whole state board, the chair has, of course, responsibility for making sure the rules are followed and everyone gets a chance to speak. So in that sense, it's a very important role, and of course there are also committees that are subordinate to the state board and the state executive committee, which are largely appointed by the chair. A chair is not really supposed to be a power position. It's supposed to be a facilitator position, and especially when the people of the state where you live are godly people, they all have really important wisdom to share, and the best thing that a chair can do is take down the barriers that stop those people from speaking and sharing the knowledge that they have. So that's what it should be. You shouldn't have a chair trying to strong-arm people. The chair should be facilitating negotiations so that the group can do what the group really wants.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, that all makes sense. My question is, have you talked to very many of the elected officials, because the convention stripped them of their voting rights? I'm sure that those voting rights are still in place by the chair and the executive committee as it's constituted now. Are you finding that there's elected officials, and as far as when you're looking at state senators, state representatives, that want to make a change at the top, or are they listening to the governor and what she wants?
Well, there's definitely some dissatisfaction with the current leadership, and I don't know if that dissatisfaction is strong enough to sway their votes for chair. So I don't know the answer to that question. The thing is that they have been privileged by our rules in the past, and it is true that when you start out privileged and then you start being treated equally, it feels like unfair treatment, and so they do feel like they're being punished, which I understand. And then, of course, the important thing is to make sure that they still feel like their voices are important, because it's their job to create the legal landscape of the state, and we really need to have strong and open dialogue between the people, the constituents, the grassroots, and the legislators. So I'm really hoping, because the thing is, I think there are a lot more true conservatives among the legislature than people tend to give them credit for, but right now there's an artificial line drawn down the middle of the party that forces them to be on the other side of it.
Why do you think there's a part of the party, and it's a significant part, that want open primaries? I mean, open primaries, as far as I'm concerned, only benefit the opposing party. If that's the case, why wouldn't you want to take away that power from the opposing party?
That one I cannot explain to you.
Okay.
I don't get it myself.
Yeah, it just seems, it's like having a law that says you got to be a Republican to run as a Republican. Well, duh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, duh.
Right.
I mean, that's a Homer Simpson moment as far as I'm concerned. But they
Yes.
you know, they're willing to fall on their swords about it.
Well, as I said before, I really do think that issue is less problematic for the bulk of our elected officials than is the ex officio voting rights issue.
So how do you see it going when you guys get together on December 7th and the votes are cast? I mean, you got a lot of votes against you because the elected officials are still voting. What do you think that you have to do to be able to pair off enough votes from them to get the grassroots that are going to vote for you as well?
Well, I see our state Republican Party as having tremendous potential, and I'm hoping that I can open up their eyes to that potential, because we have not only, of course, strong control of the legislature, but we also have a wealth of intelligent, motivated, talented people on whose skills we can draw. And most importantly, I think, people in Arkansas really do believe in God, and they really do want to serve God. And our party has a mandate at the moment at the national level to demonstrate good moral governance with integrity. And I think that Arkansas has the ability, if we can heal our divides, to demonstrate what that looks like for the whole country. And I know people can be tempted to think that we're kind of small and insignificant, but I don't see that at all. And maybe it's because I've in other places, but the fact is that in most other places, people don't really believe in God. And so it's incredibly difficult for them to imagine a political landscape where people can truly serve a higher purpose. But that's something that we can do here, and I'm hoping to appeal to the better angels of our legislators, and also to remind them that you have to do well by the people that you govern if you want them to keep rewarding you with electoral success.
I have to jump in. We're out of time.
Yes.
Margot, thank you so much for joining me on short notice. Margot Herzl, looking to be chairman of the RPA.